Hello everybody, this is going to be a little bit different of a video compared to my normal raid guys. The reason for this is that I think there's already some good videos out that I have linked on this boss. So what I want to do today is to go through some mechanic things in phase 1 that I think is important to point out, especially while we're progressing phase 1. And then also just go through the assignments during on WoW Utils, because there's a lot of things assigned here and it can be quite confusing. So I want to go through all the assignments to be sure that people understand exactly what they are assigned to do. So to start with just some small mechanic things that I want to point out for phase 1 is when we get these ads here, we're supposed to, we have assigned rescues and grips and life grips to make sure that we stack up all these. The healers stack up all the dusk crystals, the healing crystals, roughly in the same spot. They can be pixel stacked, they can be just clustered, doesn't really matter as long as they're all in the same spot. And then everyone who is not supposed to pick up a crystal should just be away from this cluster of crystals so they don't accidentally pick something up. And then we have assigned grips and knocks to stack the midnight ones up. Then for the memory game, there's some small things to point out here that I think is important. Firstly, both tanks should set up the macros for the memory game, as well as all the healers, because they're the ones that are doing this. Also important that every single raider still follows the guides to make sure that you actually can see the memory game in game. So that means that you follow the guide to replace the files, so you actually see the correct images in game when we play the memory game. There is a little test button for this in Normal Sky Raid Tools. If you're not sure how to do it, or if it doesn't work, then just talk to me and we'll figure it out. One more thing to know really about this memory game is that the timing is not really tight for any of these. Like for the tank, they just need to press 1 before they press 4. So it's not a rush to place these. The only exception for this is between 2 and 3, because the add-on cannot distinguish between what healer is in the red phase and what healer is in the blue phase. So that means that whoever these presses first will be shown as number 2 and the second will be shown as number 3. So that means that the healer in the red phase needs to be sure that they press their macro for the first one they see, which will be number 2 total, as fast as possible. Of course, they'll make sure that you actually get the correct one, but they need to press it before the healer in the blue phase presses theirs, which means that the healer in the blue phase can take a little bit of time. They don't need to like rush it. Obviously, there still needs to be some pace to this, but between 2 and 3, it's important that 2 goes before 3. If you do know that you fucked it up and you see on the macro that it's wrong, then the healers in here need to call it out as soon as possible, so we know that 2 and 3 should swap. Don't start like, if you see that your icon is in the wrong place, don't start like trying to fix it by pressing other things, because that won't work. Just keep doing the thing, and then after we're done with all 5 of them, then we'll note that 2 and 3 needs to swap. Other than that, I want to talk just a little bit more of these beams. They will always spawn either directly to the left of the boss or to the right of the boss, and it will always move towards the boss. So what this image here is conveying is that it spawns here to the left of us, which means that we move to the left, because this beam is always going to move to the right here. So we cross it as soon as possible. So we always cross the beam here. It will always spawn immediately left to right, and we always cross it. These arrows here is indicating how we as a raid should move if this beam here is moving to the right. Then we'll talk a bit more about this later here. Right, then we have the crystals. This is just assignment of who is assigned to pick up the crystals when and who is carrying them in each phase. So the very first set of crystals that spawn is carried by Nissen, Raven, and Irma. Second set of crystals that spawn is carried by Akar, Billy, and Dave. There will be a third crystal, third cast of crystals, but there won't be any dusk crystals in it. It will just be 9 midnight crystals. So there's nobody picking up any crystals there. So these 6 people will pick them up in phase 1 and carry them throughout phase 1. Dropping them, of course, when they're about to take damage. Then, when the intermission starts, the evokers are going to drop their crystals for the tanks to pick up. I'll go through exactly how that works later. Same thing when phase 2 starts. The dragons are going to pick up the crystals from the tanks again. And then when phase 3 starts, Akar and Dave are not going to pick up the crystals in phase 3. Instead, Felix and Sunny is going to do that. I'll also go through that when we get there. So, phase 1 adds. The way this works is that we have Selle assigned to grip any crystals that are on the left. Oblig grips any crystals that is from the right. Andy grips any leftover crystals from that. So just from the grips, we should be able to get 6 of them in. If we do have any leftovers, we have Nox assigned roughly from these positions here. So Sam and Irma on the left, Quinn and Billy on the right. Especially on the third set of these, like I said, there's going to be 9 crystals total. So then we are definitely going to need a Nox. We do have a mass grip assigned on the third set. So if we're lucky with the spawns, then it's possible for us that mass grip can grip the leftovers, and we actually get all 9 in with just grips. But these people here need to be ready with knockbacks if there's any crystals that isn't getting in. Because this needs to be done rather fast, because we need to nuke down the crystals before the cast go off. If a cast go off, then we wipe. It could also be the case that these need to be knock chains. So if there's a crystal back here, maybe Irma needs to knock it in, and then Sam knocks it again to get them all the way to the boss. Just be careful when you're knocking that you're not knocking the crystals that are already under the boss and knocking them away. And for the dusk crystals, the healing crystals, then we just have Voodoo gripping the one from the leftmost, Saren gripping the rightmost one, and then Voodoo just gripping the last remaining one with the double grip. And you guys can communicate if you want to do something different or whatever makes sense for you, but that is what we have assigned when it comes to this. Right, then we have the kick Wikara. So the kick Wikara works. Every person who has a kick needs to be sure that they've downloaded Mikaras and then get it with this Wikara from the Northern Sky add-on. There's a link to it. Even if you're not assigned to it right now, we may need to swap things during progress, so make sure you set it up. And this will be automatically assigned from the Wikara, so we'll have a note for this, just like other Wikaras. And you will be assigned either to kick boss frame 2, boss 3, or boss 4. And how this works is basically that you just focus the boss that you are assigned to, and then the Wikara will tell you when you need to kick. There is some weird bug here with the Wikara, where I think if 2 doesn't finish first, it stops working or something. I'm not entirely sure about the details. Either way, the 4 people who are lost, just be aware that maybe the Wikara will just stop working for your kick, but just keep a little bit of track of it for your target. Alright, so intermission spreads. How this works is that this is relative to where the boss is at the end of phase 1. So if the boss is all the way here down to the south, then the tanks will run up here. If the boss is over to the east, the tanks move over here to the west. If the boss is north, and so on and so forth. The boss could also be like down here, then the tanks move over here. And same thing for everyone else. If the boss is down here, then suffix is down here, and so. Just the entire thing just shifts depending on where the boss is. It's just relative to the boss down here. And this is also where we hand off the crystals from the evokers to the tanks. How this works is that Billy and Dharma, you guys run out like Billy off to the left there, Irma off to the right, like as soon as possible. Like when the intermission is about to start. You ping yourself and you drop your crystals, and when the tanks on their way to their position, just sweep by and pick up your crystal. Important for the other people moving that direction, like for here, Sella, Suffix, Saren, just make sure that you don't accidentally pick up this crystal when you're moving over here. And the tank, just move early to pick up this crystal as soon as the boss goes away for phase 1. So yeah, Billy over here to the left, giving to Mungo. Irma on the right, giving to Andy. And then this formation here is also not entirely true here. What I mean by that is that we want to give the crystals as much space as possible so that they just can play in their own little world and not have to worry about other people hitting them. That means that Raven and the car, especially if they feel safe, can move like a little bit further up here, away from Dave and Nissan. And it also means that these six ranged here that do not have a crystal, they can move a bit closer together. Like they can bundle up like between this area basically here to give some wide space here towards Dave and Nissan. Because these people just need to worry about not hitting each other with the blazes, and then they don't need to worry about whatever is going on with the crystals as well. So give room for the crystals. Billy and Irma just move down here with the rest, and the melee also here needs to be sure that they're standing like very close to the dark well, so you give room behind you to the crystal carriers. Alright, then in phase 2 we have these assignments here for the galvanized spreads, which is the line soak. The way the line soak works is that it will hit the tank currently tanking, 1 healer, 1 ranged, and 1 melee, but it will not target any seed carriers. What this means is that going into this phase, Mongo and Andy will have 1 seed each, so they need to drop their seeds quite fast before the galvanized picks a target, or things will be very, very weird. The way I've set this up is for Mongo to have aggro at this point, and he's just gonna drop his seed like off to the side here, off to the side of Star, and Billy will pick it up, which is because he's also assigned there. Andy, who isn't the tank actively tanking, so he's not gonna get a line on him, runs over to place his crystal down next to Skull marker, and then goes back to Star to soak the line that's on Mongo at that point, and Irma picks up that seed. I would recommend the evokers and the tanks to set up some ping macros to like warning ping themselves when they're dropping the seed to make sure that there's no confusion about that, both in here and here when you're dropping off the seeds as well. Yeah, so Mongo places seed next to Star, and he places his seed next to Skull, not right on top of the markers, because that's where people are going to be stacking already in preparation. And then the seed people, when the galvanize actually is about to hit, you just drop your seeds off to the left or right of your marker, and then dip into the marker, and then back out to pick up your seed again. Obviously as well, you do not need to stand in this line. This line is just to you don't need to stand in a line formation. The line is here is just to so you can see the names earlier. In reality, what's gonna happen is we're gonna all be clumped into as close to the boss as possible next into our markers, because we have aim sets assigned for the galvanized soaks. So, and then how we aim this is just the first one goes to the left of the marker, the second one on the marker, and the third one right of the marker. Right, but between each of these line soaks, we also get the spread in Mythic. And how this works is that the seed people will all just not fight the sock and get sucked into the middle, while everyone else fights the sock and gets to their spread spot as soon as possible. Hunter there is also has a spot in melee here, so he can also just fall down into the middle. But he needs to be careful that he's not accidentally picking up a seed here at that point. So probably still fight it a little bit and then just dip down into it. But the seed people just get all sucked into the middle. As soon as the suck stops, you just drop your crystals. And if you just all do that at the same time, you shouldn't accidentally pick up any other crystal. You go out to your soak spot. As soon as the soak hits, you just go back into the middle and you're gonna pick up a seed. And nobody else goes into the middle at this point. Melee, just be careful, just because they should be stacked right under the boss, so don't accidentally go in there. So you're just gonna dip into the middle, you're gonna pick up a seed, and then you'll be back. Now, because all the melee spots is taken by the seed people, it means that the rest of us has to spread along the edge. Tanks have assigned spots to stand on top of each other. They can probably spread out if they want to, but to start off, they can stack up with each other to give some room. But there are some people that has to move quite a bit. So we have like Tony and Sam, who are in the range camp, have to go up here to spread. Felix, who is in the healer camp, have to get over here to spread. So there's some people that need to run a little bit, but you should have no problems making that. When it comes to remembering your soak positions, just look at these markers and think like, okay, if I'm Tony or Voodoo, I'm soaking between red and star, and then you should be fine from there. If I'm Felix, I'm soaking right behind star. If I'm Sam, I'm soaking right behind cross, for example. And just use the markers as guidelines, and then just like for Sam, for example, he just needs to ping pong between like soaking the line on skull. The suck starts, he makes it his way over to cross. As soon as the suck ends, he just and the spread has happened, he moves back over to skull and then rinse and peace like that. For the last spread, during the Dark Meltdown cast, we don't actually drop our crystals. There's no suck or anything like that. And all the seed people just carry the crystals because we want them to get knocked into these clusters with us in the start of phase 3. The people who need to be a bit careful here is Sam and Dave especially, because the room will be divided straight in the middle, which means that Sam needs to be sure that while he is spreading here, he also needs to be a little bit more to the left than to the right, so he actually gets knocked to the correct side of the barrier. Same thing for Dave. The opposite needs to be a bit more to the right here, or left looking into the middle, to make sure that he gets knocked into this side of the room here. If we do all these spreads correctly, also the tanks here are completely different, like Andy's is all the way over here to make sure that he actually gets to his side. And some other people have been swapped around a bit because of that. Like Obli and Suffix are a bit more off to the left at this point. If we do all that correctly, then we should land in clusters looking roughly like this. Now, what happens here is that Dave and Akar was carrying crystals before. When we land, instead of Dave and Akar picking up these crystals, then Felix and Sunny will pick up the crystals instead. As well as the crystal on the ground, there'll also be 2 soaks. Especially first times we get to this will be very chaotic. Just make sure we focus on soaking this thing. Preferably the correct person actually picks up the crystal as well, like Raven, Irma, Dave, Raven, Irma, Sunny, and then Billy, Felix, and Nissen are picking up these crystals. But make sure that we get the soaks first. If you do accidentally pick up the crystal, then let's just get over to the boss after the soaks, and then you just swap off the crystals at that point. Actually, I guess you can't. Just make sure you pick up the correct ones. Yes. So, yeah, we get into these clusters. We move to the sides here. And you can look at these assignments here are just depending on what the spread spots are. So just look at your spread spots to know where you'll be winding up here. In phase 3, we also have an assignment for popping the crystals. That's on the Dark Archangel cast. So on the very first one, Billy and Irma will pop theirs. On the second one, Akar and Raven will pop theirs. And on the third one, Felix and Sunny will pop theirs. There is a trick with this. That means that if you were the person who popped the crystal last time, you are guaranteed to not only get the memory game the next time your side gets it, you're also guaranteed to get the first symbol that appears. So if like triangle is the first symbol in the memory game, you like on the memory game after Bill and Irma pops, Bill and Irma are guaranteed to get the triangle there, which means that they should be like kind of positioned roughly in the middle and be prepared to just solve their memory game early. And these are the sides. These are corresponding to exactly these sides here. So it's just a small reminder of exactly what side you are on. And then we have phase 3. So in phase 3, we have we get the 3 soaks, and one side gets the memory game spread. And the soaks are assigned left, middle, and right. I don't know why this one says Bill. This one also says Bill. Ignore that. That's right. But since we have 3 seed carriers here, you're not allowed to leave the confines of the seed. Then these 4 people here are assigned to soak the left one. These 3 people are assigned to soak the right one. And then we converge into the middle one after that. And to soak that. Left, middle, and right here is depending on looking at the boss. So if you're standing anywhere looking at the boss, then left will be the leftmost one, right will be the rightmost one, middle will be the middle one. Quite often they are like kind of like this. For example, like left one here is like all the way close to the middle. Right one, so it's like in a line like that. But either way, it's always just wherever you are looking at the boss, left is leftmost one. I realize that's not true on this one now. Well, either way, left is the one closest to the middle here. Okay, we'll get to that more when we actually get there. But yeah, we soak this like this, left, middle, right. We soak left and right. We soak all these 3 at the same time. The memory game spread is assigned as well. These are very rough positions for the spread. Remember that the people who have the crystals have the little aura around them, and they're actually the ones that you need to be close to. So like wherever you're spreading, make sure that you actually are inside the line of inside the circle of these carriers. The spreads here does not matter. That's just assignment. You can be anywhere you want inside this inside this area. Same thing goes here. We have Billy, Felix, and Nissan carrying the seeds there. So if you're like assigned to spread a bit away from those, just make sure that you're still inside their circle. I don't know why this one says civics. This is the boss. Well, either way. Left, middle, and right here is the soaks we're doing. We have 1 crystal on each. After we've popped the crystals, here Billy doesn't have a crystal. It's just Nissen and Felix, so people spread around them. The memory game here is always we soak the left and the right one first, and then we converge in the middle. And here, like I said, Billy is guaranteed to get the first symbol of the memory game, so he's kind of positioned middle-ish, so he can move to wherever he needs to go to resolve the first one. Same for this one. We have people assigned to do the first left one, the first right one. And then here, Raven and Sunny has the crystals. Irma is the first one that is the one that popped the previous one, so he gets the first symbol of the memory game. Here as well, like if you're Andy here, you just need to be sure that you're still inside Sunny's circle here when you're tanking. So people just this like rough thread positions. Yes, the important thing is that you're still inside the circle and that you're not standing on other people. For the last phase, if our DPS is good, we're gonna skip like most of this, but still the person with the seed stands in the middle. The person who popped the latest one, so this case is Raven, just stands right on top of the person with the seed, and as soon as they get their the memory symbol, they can just run right on top of. So if Saren has it, like if Raven here gets T, Saren has T, just boom, right on top of him, and then we already solved one of the memory games. After that is done, then Raven just goes off to the side somewhere to not stand right on top of Sunny. And same thing, well, on the left side here, then you just soak the right one first, then the middle one, and then the left one. Same thing here on the memory game. This one we should definitely skip, but if we do get it, Nissen just stands right on top of Felix, and get ready to just run on top of whoever gets the first one, because he will always get the first one as well. And the other side soak right, middle, left. Right, that's all the assignments. So hopefully that's clear. If there's any questions, then just please ask me. There is one more assignment that is worth noting very quickly. In phase 4, the secret phase, we have movement speed assignments for the Heaven and Hell moves. So we have a Roar here, we have a Windrush on the second one, we have Piercing Howl and a Time Spiral on the third one. And if we do get the fourth one, it's into Enrage, but still we do have Stepping Roar coming back at that point as well. We do also have immunities assigned to this. So on the very first move, then Andreas is popping his turtle. On the second move, Tony T is popping his turtle. On the third move, Civic's popping Cloak. If we do get the fourth one, then I'm popping Bubble. And what these immunities is for is that they're goalies for all the dogs that are coming towards us in while we're moving. Just pop your immunity and run into any dogs that is going to hit the raid. The tank is also the tank that doesn't have the light is also doing the same, but they can't take all of them. So the immunity is there to make sure that you just act as a goalie to get as many dogs as you can so the raid can move freely. Right, I think that's it. So thanks for watching and see you guys later. Bye!